Thank you guys for watching. Again, subscribe to Jasmine's channel or else. Thanks, guys.
What is up, you guys? It is Jazz, and on my channel I talk about nursing, hair, and holistic health and wellness. If this is your first time clicking on a video, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. And if you are returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. All right, y'all. So for today's video, I'm very excited because this is video number 2 of my Nurses Answer series. My first Nurses Answer video was all about nursing school advice, so definitely go check out that first Nurses Answer video if you haven't seen the first video of this series, so you can get a bunch of good advice for nursing school from a bunch of amazing nurses. But in today's video, we're gonna be taking it to a little bit more of like a fun topic, and we're gonna be talking about the favorite classes of nursing school. I think it's really interesting because from my 9 nurses that participated, I actually kind of got some answers that were across the board, and it really just kind of goes to show that in nursing, everybody kind of has their little area, their little niche that they gravitate to, that they feel like they really belong in. So I think it's just really cool to kind of hear what those interests are for different people. So I just want to give a huge shout out once again to my 9 nurses that participated in this video today. Thank you so much for dedicating your time to recording a clip to be part of this video with me. I really appreciate all 9 of you guys so much. So without further ado, let's go and jump right in to this video all about favorite classes of nursing school from our panel of nurses. Starting off, we're going to hear from Monica and Alexa, whose favorite classes are 2 of the very foundational classes of nursing school. When you ask people what their favorite class of nursing school was, I feel like a lot of times we expect to hear more specialty areas. And so I really like that I got some answers that were more foundational classes, because you have to remember that in nursing, the foundations are so important, because in nursing school, everything builds and builds and builds. So those foundational classes really, you could argue, are some of the classes that matter the most, because they're getting you set up for the rest of your nursing career. So let's go ahead and first hear from Monica about her favorite class.
What was your favorite class of nursing school and why? So my favorite class in nursing school was Nurse 307 for us. It was a health assessment class that taught us how to do physical assessment, how to do a complete health history, subjective assessment, and objective assessment. It was my favorite because I'm a visual learner and I have to know kind of what goes on overall in the body, knowing the signs and symptoms and the specific diseases, and really what to look out for with certain medical conditions. Really getting a really good assessment skills is probably the most important thing that you have to do in nursing, is to what to look for, when to look for it, depending on what stage of the disease process they are. For example, I still use those skills really from start to finish in nursing school and up till now in the neuro ICU.
Okay, I just love that. And I definitely agree that building strong assessment skills is crucial to your career as a nurse. You really honestly want to get your assessment skills down, that they just kind of become second nature to you. The more and more you practice, complete head to toe assessments, different focused assessments on different body systems, you just kind of get better and better at them, that you are just like always observing and making assessments without even really noticing. So I definitely agree on that there. Now let's hear from another amazing nurse about her favorite class, which is another foundational class of nursing school.
My favorite class in nursing school would definitely be med-surg, because I like learning about all disease processes, how it affects the organs, the body, the signs and symptoms, the medical interventions. And I also like pharmacokinetics. And I like learning about the first pass effect, the P450 system, all these enzymes that break down the medications in your body, and also the concept of bioavailability. I think it's very important to know how these medications are going to be absorbed and then metabolized within the body, because as nurses we give so many medications. I mean, just 2 days ago I noticed in my chart that I've been working 8 months, and I've already given 460 medications. So I think it's super important to know how these meds are going to pass through the body and affect the patient.
That is just great. And I would definitely say it is very, very important to know how the medications that you are giving to patients affect them and are metabolized and excreted from the body, because like Alexis said, she's already given over 400 medications. That's a lot. So that's responsibility on you and your license. So that's something you always definitely want to keep in mind, is being mindful and cognizant of the things that you are giving to people for them to put into their bodies. So now that we've heard about 2 foundational classes of nursing school, the rest of these answers are going to start to get more into different specialty areas. So the first section we're going to jump into is about psych. Let's hear from some nurses whose favorite class was psych.
Lastly, I'll share with you guys what my favorite class was in nursing school, and it was psych clinicals. That's where I found out I had my passion for psychiatric mental health, and the reason is because it gave me an opportunity to see about something that's not widely talked about. Psych nursing isn't the most popular thing, and once I did my clinicals, it gave me an opportunity to see that these were people that were just like me, who deal with stress, depression, anxiety, which is what I hear from my family and friends and everybody else across the world. So I figured, why not dive in and see how many people I can help and see if I can help myself, which I'm a psych nurse, and the answer is yes.
My favorite class in nursing school was psych, because it was just the most interesting. You learn a lot about mental health and different mental health illnesses and different types of things that can go on, and I think it helps you to look at people differently sometimes. Not that everybody's mentally ill, but low-key everybody's mentally ill, at least in this day and age. So yeah, that was the most fun class.
Okay, thank you, Lori. And I kind of giggle, but there's really some truth behind what she said. Everybody really does kind of have mental illness, because we have to remember it's not this blanket black or white, either you are mentally ill or you're not. I like to really kind of think as mental health on a continuum, and we are all on our own continuum, just continuously moving up and down based on the things that are happening to us in our day-to-day lives. And that's everybody. We're all constantly moving up and down on our continuums, which kind of brings us back to what Jayison said, that these psych patients that he works with as a nurse are just like you and me. They're just people like anybody else, and they're going through similar type of struggles as us. Psychiatric health might not be the most popular area, but is definitely so important, and I think an area that we all need to focus on more. So thank you, Lori and Jayison, for sharing that with us. Now, before we move into the rest of the answers from the other nurses, I'm gonna go ahead and share with you all my favorite class of nursing school. So personally, my favorite class of nursing school was OB. None of my 9 nurses actually also chose OB, which surprised me, because OB is typically one of those really popular ones that you hear about. So I'll be the one to go ahead and represent OB for this video as my favorite class. It was my favorite class because, like you're hearing from a lot of people, that's just kind of like the most interesting area to me. I was very excited to go into that class. And once I actually got into the class, it was just so interesting to me. And keep in mind, I was pregnant throughout the whole time I was taking my OB class. So as I was learning all these things, to me, it was just kind of cool, because I could directly think about it and apply it to myself. Or I had, just recently gone through these same experiences in my pregnancy. So I just thought it was very unique to learn about, pregnant women, pregnancy, childbirth, and all the things surrounding that while I was going through it myself. That was definitely very cool. And on top of that, my OB instructor was hands down my favorite instructor of nursing school. She was so funny, and she just made class actually enjoyable, which I will say that is hard to do when you are teaching over Zoom, and she was. So I just loved her. Shout out to you, Miss Trinka. She was the best. So not only was it just a interest area of mine that I was very passionate about, but then I had just the most amazing person teaching the subject to me. So that combination just made the sparks fly, and that was hands down my favorite class of nursing school. All right, and next up, we're going to hear from Danielle as she shares her 2 favorite classes from nursing school.
So what was my favorite class? I have 2 because it's kind of hard to pick one because they're very insightful and unique experiences. And that is, they are community and geriatrics. And they're like not the ones you hear every day. They're not P's, they're not OB, ICU, whatever. I said community because I didn't even know, first of all, what the class was about when I took it until the first day, that it was about how nursing is more than just bedside care, and it's for caring for all types of communities, including the homeless population, for example. One of my dreams originally was to travel across the world to a country with people in need. When I realized that there's people in my own community, my own neighbors, that also need just as much help, and if I can offer what I know as a nurse to these people, I'm doing the best that I can. I also like geriatrics, not necessarily the lecture, but more for the clinical aspect, because we were in the PCU, Progressive Care Unit. If you guys don't know, it's kind of like IMC, and usually would be in an acute rehab for older populations, but because of COVID, this is the best that we got. And I'm very thankful that this was the best that we had been offered, because I was truly challenged at my limits. I had a very difficult clinical instructor, but she is my favorite of all time. I'm very thankful for her for pushing me to my limits. This class was about already challenging what I knew from med-surg, from pharmacology, and really applying it clinically to these people. What's exactly going on with these people? How is medication affecting them? And what do they need? What is the best way for me to be a clinically wise nurse? Basically, I'm really grateful for that experience, for both of these experiences, and that is what led me to my job today, which is being a home health nurse.
Now, I just love this because community health / public health is another big interest area of mine, and I am also working in a community health, public health nursing position currently. But what I really like that Danielle mentioned is how nursing is not just about bedside care. You do not have to be a bedside nurse to be a nurse. Clearly, there's nurses working in a lot of different areas. And so I think it's very interesting because community health is that one class in school that really kind of starts to expose you to nurses working places outside of the hospitals and kind of gets you to dip your toe into that, as well as look at health from a bigger scope rather than on an individual level, on a community level. And I think in general, public health and community health is just a very interesting area that is outside of what you typically think of when you think about a nurse. And next we're gonna hear from Kamryn. Just like Danielle, one of her favorite classes was geriatrics, but her other favorite class wasn't community health, it was critical care. And critical care is actually the most popular response that I got. So the last 4 nurses all listed critical care as their favorite class of nursing school.
My favorite class would be, I actually have 2, would be geriatrics and critical care. Not only are these my areas of interest, but these classes were built off of med-surg, so it helped put everything all together in my head. And these classes were still hard, but it was nice to have the things that you learned from a previous class fall into place, because you're reviewing stuff and you're also going more in depth with stuff, and things clicked better for me at this point.
So next, I'm gonna go ahead and share Kamryn's. Kamryn did not record a video, but she still wanted to participate. So she went ahead and typed up her response and sent it to me. So Kamryn says, my favorite class was critical care because the professor taught it well and made the class engaging. It was also interesting to learn about care for those in critical condition. And I definitely agree, our professor was amazing for critical care. So next, let's hear from our last 2 nurses of the day about critical care being their favorite class.
My favorite class in nursing school by far was critical care. Just an amazing class. Just a lot of information thrown at you fast, and all of it was interesting, and you'd be surprised how much of it you see even in non-critical care areas.
Last thing is, what was my favorite class in nursing school? Mine was critical care because I love me a little challenge, and it was just the most interesting because that's really what I strive to end up in eventually. So yeah, that's me. Good luck, guys.
All right, you guys, so those were our last 2 responses from our panel of nurses, and once again we have made it to the end of another video. I just want to say shout out to my 9 nurses once again. Thank you all so much. I really truly appreciate it. Obviously, I could not have made this video without you all. So thank you for your time and generosity. And thank you all who decided to click on this video and tune in today to hear from these lovely nurses. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you have any questions that you want to ask our panel of nurses, definitely comment that down below so that we can get your question answered next. So that's all I have for you guys today. I truly hope you enjoyed today's video, and I just hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye guys.